I just fell down this rabbit hole of just working out, eating well, repeatedly eating. But when I came to uni, it opened me up to like a whole new world of the way people ate. Like there were so many eating habits that I've picked up over the last year or two from my close friends and from their families.
Hey guys, welcome to an Unstructured podcast. Today we have a new series that we like to call The People's Passion, where anyone can come on and talk about what they're passionate about, gets them up in the morning. And today, as our first guest, we've got Powerlius. Powerlius, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Paul. So I'm heavily into fitness and train like 6 days a week for probably 2 hours like every day. I'm just really into it. It's my passion, and I want to take my career there in that direction, hopefully. But at the time being, I'm a filmmaking student, and I'm basically trying to succeed in both areas, but see which one takes off more. But I'm a little bit more passionate about fitness. So yeah,
all right,
that's me.
That's fair enough, mate. When did the idea of putting these two together come about?
So
creating your Instagram shop.
So it's more just I originally was I found a passion for filmmaking, and I started my course at Met. So I did a foundation course, and whilst I was doing this, I was like getting into working out and stuff, and like kind of looking after the way I look, and I just fell in love with it. I just fell in love with the progress and just like the process as well, like going in, working out, and just like looking after I don't know, just like the progression was like something I was really fueled by, and after a certain while, that sort of just took over, and I found myself going 6-7 days a week sometimes. So I was going like 2 weeks in a row without a rest. Even though I knew it wasn't even like it, I'm just obsessed with it. I just love it. It's what gets me up in the morning.
I mean, whenever I've tried to work out, I find it hard to get motivation and like the differences between motivation and discipline. Obviously, I think at this point doing it, 2 years solidly of doing it for like 6 or 7 days a week, 2 hours. How do you find motivation, but how do you build upon the discipline that you have to continuously go?
It's all about building habits, building good habits, and as humans, we're like very driven by habits. We're very habitual creatures. Well, depending on what we do every day repeatedly, we are more likely to keep doing that. So if you switch out those bad habits with good ones, it doesn't have to be, like all or nothing. You can just do a little bit more each day and build on that, and just switch out little things like, say like, one day instead of having a bagel with Nutella, I'll have a bagel with peanut butter. That's a very small change. But if you keep making these changes, they will build up over time. Yeah. Like it's not like I got to where I am today in a week. It's slowly making little changes to the point where now it's easy to me because I've built those habits, and now it's like brushing my teeth. Like I'm more likely to do things that are bettering my health than say 2 years ago. Like that would have been a very conscious thing for me to do. That would have been very like, okay, I'm going to the gym now. Okay, I'm eating healthy. It didn't come easy to me, but it's a slow process. It's a slow process.
What was your first step? What was your little change that you made 2 years ago? What was the starting building blocks of that?
So initially, I just started educating myself. That was the main thing. Because I'd gone through a period beforehand where I'd struggled with an eating disorder because I used to be quite a fat kid, and I lost a lot of weight coming out of school, and I didn't do it healthily. I wasn't educated on it. I was just kind of like more or less starving myself and eating very unhealthy food. And after a certain while, I didn't even realize I was doing something that was unhealthy. After a certain while, I started picking up on the fact that I had an eating disorder, and it's kind of rubbish, really, that we're not being educated on it properly, because I should have known. I should have at least known what it was, you know. But like when I was like 18, 19, like I remember like finding out, like seeing it online somewhere and being like, what the fuck, like this is me. I've got a problem. So I went to see someone, and from then on I started just trying to eat normally, but I was still eating kind of unhealthy, but most people do, like most people. I was eating what I'd call normally, like, and I started picking up more normal eating habits. I wasn't being restrictive, which was the main thing, because that was the number one cause of it. I was just being way too restrictive, and I went to see someone and I educated myself, and maybe six months into not having an eating disorder, I'd call it. Or like at least, you know, trying to recover from one. I decided to take up fitness again, and at this point, it was only I think it was December 2018. It was only like going in and doing some curls and that sort of thing, just kind of feeling it out again. And then I think it was February of 2019. That's when I took it up seriously again, and that's when I just fell down this rabbit hole of just working out, eating well, repeat. Just I found a proper passion for it. Like this momentum was just keeping me going. Like I felt unstoppable, and I've been going at it every day I can since. So yeah.
I want to quickly touch on when you say some of like the foods you were eating and like you had bad habits and you're training yourself into better food choices. What sort of things were you eating, and what sort of things are you eating now?
All right, so at my worst, I have been in some pretty dark places with food, I'd say. Like I've had binge eating disorder and I've had bulimia. Binge eating disorder is where you restrict yourself and then end up overeating because you've been too restrictive and you've slipped up once. So your brain, the way it works is kind of like your brain's like, oh, I've messed up, so I might as well just go all out and just you know, binge and eat as much as I can now, because I know tomorrow I'm going to say, right, back on the diet. Yeah. But there's sort of an unhealthy way of looking at food. And then I had bulimia as well, which is a bit more of a rare eating disorder than a binge eating disorder. And that's where you actually purge. And I used to actually make myself throw up to get rid of the food afterwards, because I felt so full that I couldn't keep it down. And the darkest part of the eating disorder, I was eating, like, when I was first initially trying to lose that weight, I was eating, I just remember not knowing about really protein or anything, like not trying to maintain muscle or anything like that. I didn't even consider that. I was trying to lose weight. So I was eating, I think, 1,800 calories a day, which is not a lot for someone my size. And on some days, even less. And it wasn't like, salmon, spinach, that sort of thing. Like I wasn't doing it the right way. I was eating like a chocolate bar and a meal deal, which is not getting no nutrients whatsoever. And that probably did a number on my body at that point as well. Like, probably wasn't great for me, but I was uneducated. I had no idea about it. I just knew, oh, it's calories in, but calories out. Like I can eat what I want and lose weight. So why would I not? And then after that, I had a bit of a rebound, because when you diet down, you tend to, especially if you lose weight quickly, you tend to gain the weight back just as quick, because your body's like, if you're not keeping that same restriction, or like at least not easing back into eating normally again, you're very likely to overeat, just because your body's like, oh, bring me back to your base level of fat, like what your body likes to be at. And so I gained a bit of weight back, and at this point I was still eating unhealthily, but at least I was eating. It was progress. I was eating probably about anywhere from like 2,500 to 3,000 calories of like fairly junky food, I'd say, like, but at least I was getting some food in. It was like meal deals, maybe a meal with my family, and then like Mackies occasionally, just not good food, not good food, like, but at least I was eating, you know. And then when I started getting into fitness, I started looking into nutrition a lot more, and within the first few months, I just prioritized getting protein in, because I learned of the importance of that. And I was like, oh, I've been working out for a while, but now I'm seeing the real progress when I'm getting protein in, because I'm, you know, recovering, I'm building that muscle back. And I just prioritized that initially, but I wasn't really, I'd hopped on a few diets just to try them out, like keto and stuff, but I wasn't doing it properly. And like I looked a lot better than I did a few months before. I was making quick progress, because newbie gains as well, you make progress quick when you first start. And I remember when I came to uni, all of a sudden I was living with, because before that I was very, you know, I in terms of eating, I was quite isolated. I only really saw how I ate, and maybe my family, and maybe like my ex-girlfriend. I'd only see like a select few people eating. But when I came to uni, it opened me up to like a whole new world of the way people ate. Like there were so many eating habits that I've picked up over the last year or two from my close friends and from their families, because I see the way they eat, and I'm like, they look at food differently to me. Not anymore, because I've picked those habits up, but my relationship with food was very different to some of my friends. Like I'd open a packet of crisps and I'd be like, there's no way I can, you know, eat a couple and put it back. Like, but I'd see like one of my flatmates was, she'd get a biscuit out of the packet and eat half of it, then put it back in. I was like, what?
What?
Is this a thing?
No way I could do that.
No way.
But I was just like, this is ridiculous. I'd eat the whole packet if I opened it. I don't have that kind of self-control. And like over time, I started, it was baby steps, really. It was baby steps. But over time, I started, instead of getting, say, a packet of crisps when I was craving it, I'd get a packet of lentil chips. Slight substitute. Yeah. It'll get rid of the craving, you know. And say, instead of a tub of Ben and Jerry's, I'll get a tub of Halo Top. Like, you know, lower calorie option. I just started switching out options, and that really worked for me. Like I had like, instead of again, like having Nutella or whatever, I'd have like a peanut butter on a bagel with a sliced banana, and, you know, just healthy snacks. So snacks that, because I still had cravings at this point. I still really struggled with it. So I just found things that weren't as bad for me that would satisfy the craving. And at this point, I was still very much in my head about it, and I was still being a bit too restrictive. because I wanted to look better, and I thought the only way I could do that was by losing fat. But at this point, I've realized the most important thing is just building up the muscle, building up that base underneath, and just getting stronger and fitter. Yeah, sorry, do you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I got my hand up like I'm a student.
That's all good.
So I kind of want to highlight upon, obviously you mentioned some of the darker bits to your journey. Yeah. And obviously you don't have to answer it if it's a bit too close to home.
No, I'm completely open about it.
All right, cool. Then I'm a psychology major, and so I like to think of things sort of as the mental processes.
Yeah, no, me too. I love it.
I'm quite curious as to if you can draw yourself back to that time where you were binge eating but throwing up afterwards. What was the what were the irrational thoughts that you were having whilst all of these things were going on? And
all right, so it was like this. I would be I'd be a bit restrictive because I was like, okay, I want to lose some weight here. So I'm going to cut out the shit and just eat well. And that would go great for a few days. And then a few days in, I'd be like, oh, I'm really feeling a chocolate bar. I go to the shop, but instead of buying a chocolate bar, I buy 4. And I go back and I eat all 4. And at this point, it's like something in your head clicks. It's like you're a different person. It's like something's taken over you, and you're like, I just need to eat. I just need to keep eating because I know that I'm going to go back into this restrictive diet, and I just need to keep eating like as much as I can right now. It's a weird bit of psychology. And then obviously when I'd overeat and I'd be really full, I'd also be, the whole time whilst I'm doing this, I'd be super ashamed of myself because I'm like, I can't stop myself from eating, and I'm just going to gain even more weight, and I'm setting myself back even though I've worked for days to get to the point where I am now. So in my head, throwing up seemed like the rational thing to do, even though I knew it was wrong. In fact, I don't think initially I'd even realized what I was doing. Like, I hadn't even consciously thought about it as like an eating disorder until it was like later on pointed out to me, and like I'd seen it online and stuff, and I like started actually digging into it. It's such a weird thing. It was just literally like I was like a chimp, just fucking eating and like, oh yeah, no, it was a rough period, but at the same time, I'm glad it happened because I don't feel like if I went through all those things, if I wasn't overweight as a kid, and if I hadn't developed an eating disorder, I don't think I'd be as passionate about fitness, and I wouldn't have gone out of my way to look into this and dig deeper with it as much in terms of like nutrition and like training. I don't think I would have dug as deep, but having that under my belt, having that in my past, I've kind of identify with fitness now, and I don't know. I'm like super passionate about it because I've come such a long way.
I was going to ask, is that like is that sort of like a boost for you now? So when you work out and when you eat well, you think back and you're like, yeah, I used to eat bad and I never used to work out, and I don't ever want to come back to that sort of place. Would you say it just gives you like a boost now?
Oh, 100%. Like the story you tell yourself is something like say, have you ever read the David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me?
No.
So David Goggins is probably the toughest motherfucker in the world. Like he is a fucking sick guy. He basically used to be really overweight, and then he joined the SEALs, lost like an insane amount of weight beforehand to be able to get in. Yeah, that bald guy. I think I've seen him where
he's bald guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
No, he's insane.
Yeah,
on a different level.
So, I kind of use that book to look at the way I used to be fat, like and how far I've come. As I see it as fuel now. I see it as like look how far I've come. Why would anything stop me from keeping going? You know, like if I've done all this, then I could easily, you know, finish this last 2-hour workout or whatever. Like it's like the other week. I wouldn't say I'm a runner or anything, but I picked it up over lockdown because I was just trying to find new ways to challenge myself. And the other week I did an hour-long run straight, which for me is unheard of. Like for me, that's mental. But it was just like, I just kept pushing because I was like, you can really just achieve anything if you just put your mind to it. If you just don't give in to that voice in the back of your head, you can literally achieve anything you want if you just put the time in and just actually just get your head down and just, you know what I mean? Don't give in. And he put it really nicely as well. David Goggins. At about 40% of your full potential is where the voice in your head says, "Oh, we're done." But you've still got another 60% in you. You're just not willing to push yourself that far. I don't know. I find that very driving.
No, I think it's very impressive, and it's like a fair play to you for obviously doing that, because it does take a lot, like, to switch up that mindset and that mentality to boost yourself to become a better person. And obviously, like you said, I can tell, like, even from Hove Park, like, I think you're such a better person now. So I think you've taken that big step, and you should be proud of yourself. So keep it up.
That.
But so with regards to your like Instagram and your YouTube, would you say this is sort of linked to this fitness journey? Did you want to show people how far you came, and like sort of just explain to us what your Instagram and YouTube channel is trying to show the people?
So, I mean, for me, in an ideal world, my biggest thing right now is just staying consistent with it. And that's the only way you're going to grow, really, is if you pump out good content and stay consistent with it, because it's time that is the most important factor here. So I'm just going to keep doing it, but have no expectations for it, and just stay at it, do what I'm doing, work hard with it. And I mean, end goal would be potentially, you know, being an online personal trainer, and having like a pretty decent following would be great for me. I just want to tell people my story here and potentially motivate people, inspire people, especially people who struggle with bulimia or binge eating disorders, telling them that there is a way to turn your life around. Like I was overweight myself, and I'm at least on the way to being a very in shape person. But you can start from anywhere, and you can, you know, you be the best version of yourself. That's just something that I think is really important. You know, I always preach that you should just be the best version of yourself, and no matter where you start, just, you know, start doing something. You know, get after it.
I feel like that's good as well, like a good mentality to have, because now that you've sort of not fixed yourself, but you know what I mean, you've got to the place where you want to be. Why not try and help others to become the better themselves? So
exactly,
that's sick. I like that. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm also trying not to kind of like, I'm not worried about the numbers I'm getting on there. It's still a small page or whatever, but I just don't think you should, you know, focus too much on the external things and more pick values that you can control, because then you're just setting yourself up to be a happier person.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really quickly want to touch on something quickly. I just want to ask, if, say, for example, someone listening to this or someone following your page or YouTube, what kind of advice would you give them who may be going through a very similar thing to that you did, or who are in maybe a different kind of position, but who want to start turning their life around? Okay.
So first things first, don't see it as an all or nothing thing. You don't have to either be working out as hard as you can or not working out at all. You can do a little bit. You can be somewhere in the middle, and you can move up to, you know, going hard and stuff. It's little by little. You just, go for a walk to begin with. Go for a walk every day, and then maybe go for a couple runs a week, and then start lifting weights a couple times a week. Just build up to it. It doesn't have to be 1 week I'm grinding, and then the next week I'm doing nothing. You can have balance, and it's the same with food. Really, you don't have to be eating super healthy and then eating junk the next week. You can find a middle ground. You can eat. I like to follow an 80-20 rule. So I'll eat healthy 80% of the time, and then more junky foods the other 20%. So in the evening I'll have or like say someone's got some biscuits out, I'll be like, oh yeah, let me have one. I don't see it as like I can't go near those because that will ruin my progress. You can have everything in moderation. It's all right to be in the middle and work your way up. And for anyone who's looking to kind of step it up with their diet, the most important things I'd say is, depending on your goals, obviously you'll need different things, but if you're someone who's trying to lose weight, what I'd say is find foods that make you feel full but also satisfy your cravings, so that tastes good. So the most important things are a high protein and a high fiber diet, because they'll keep you full, keep you satiated, and then obviously make them taste good. Make these things taste good. Like there's a guy called Greg Doucette who I follow, who does these he calls them anabolic French toast. It's basically just using egg whites instead of egg yolks for your French toast, and then putting sweetener on it. And you're basically getting something that would taste like a dessert, but is also very good for you. Same thing I do is instead of, so I'm a bit of a sweet tooth. What I'll have every day is I'll have this blueberry, banana, and chocolate protein powder shake. And for me, that literally tastes like ice cream. It's probably 80% as good as ice cream, but it's healthy. It's just finding substitutes for things that you enjoy, so that you can get in shape while still eating a diet you like. The main thing is just don't be restrictive. Yeah, I know it's so tempting if you're wanting to lose weight to try and restrict yourself and not let yourself have things. But it's more about just making good decisions and building good habits with that. And just over time, just every time you say no to something, you're building a good habit there. But you also don't want to overdo it and not let yourself have anything at all. You just want to do it in moderation.
I agree with that.
Managing that. Yeah,
that 80-20%, I think that's good, because one thing that I got taught when I was doing the personal training course, if you're setting up a diet plan for someone, you can't just strictly just cut out all the cravings and the bad junk food, like you said. You have to treat yourself. So even if like sort of adding to that, what I would say too is like treat yourself every day, or like every week, for example. Every week, like if you're really craving pizza, order yourself a pizza for that 1 week, because you've smashed the other days healthy eating. Because the people that do try and do it and just completely cut it out, that ruins you more. Because once you dip in, like you said about your situation, once you dip into one bad craving or habit, all of a sudden it just completely floods you, and then you're just doing bad habits again. So yeah, I actually really agree with the 80-20%. I think that's a really good idea.
No, 100%. And you might try and follow the optimal diet or the optimal workout plan. The thing that's the best possible thing for you to follow, but it's not really optimal if you can't stick to it. So you're better off incorporating a little bit of junk if it means that you're not going to go from this incredible diet, salmon, chicken, rice. If you can't stick to that, there's no point in having it. You might as well have a balanced diet with, a little bit of bad food. Although I don't like categorizing things into bad and good food, because that in itself is unhealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, so throughout your journey, is there any mistakes that you went through or had to overcome that other people might go through the same thing?
Any mistakes?
Yeah. Well,
I'm pretty sure the whole thing was just a series of mistakes that I learned from. as much as I'll try and inform the people out there who might be going through a similar thing, a lot of the time people do just learn through doing. But I'm hoping that some of my advice is like sort of an eye opener for people. And I don't know. It's just you know, gradually making those changes. You don't have to do it. You don't. I think people are just obsessed with all these body transformations from celebrities and all this. Like,
I was gonna say
I think
that.
people are just obsessed with quick results. But one thing I've found is the longer it takes you to get there, the more likely you are to keep it. So say you lose say you lose like 10, 15 kilos in a month or two. That's very, very quick weight loss. And you might get there, but because you did it so quickly, you're unlikely to be able to maintain that diet that you follow to get there. So you're just immediately going to you're going to lose that weight, and then you're just going to rebound straight away. Your body's just going to be like, oh, okay, we're done with the diet. Let's just cram food down. You're much better just doing a very small deficit, very small caloric deficit if you're trying to lose weight here. And that's manageable. You're still able to enjoy your life. You're not feeling low energy or anything. You're not completely obsessed with it. You're still able to do everything. And it might take you longer to get there. But because you're doing it in a way that is sustainable, then you're able to sustain that weight loss afterwards. You know, you maybe refeed and then put on a bit of size or whatever your goals are. You know, sort of. You're supposed to ease into it, really.
Based on what you've just said, I would love to get your opinion on the keto diet.
The keto diet. So I've tried this myself. I didn't do it correctly because at the time I didn't know which foods were carbs and which weren't really. This is back when I had pretty basic knowledge. I think it's a great diet but the problem with it is it's a diet. It's not a lifestyle. It's not something that you can stick to for life. If you can, then go for it. But I don't think most people can, because most people like to go out for, you know, meals with their friends and family because that's part of what life's about. So keto isn't very, very helpful for that kind of thing. So I think that you're better off if you find that you work better on a low carb diet, go for that. But I think keto, just cutting out a food group completely, just makes it unsustainable. So if you're doing it as a temporary thing, knowing that you're going to stop doing it, like say like, oh, okay, I'm going to do keto for a few months, then I think it's a great tool for fat loss. And, you know, if you can sustain it, then by all means go for it. But if it's something you don't think you can do for the rest of your life, I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend finding a diet you can stick to for the rest of your life. So you don't, because if you don't think you could do what you're doing for the rest of your life, then you're not going to be able to sustain it. You know, you're restricting yourself too much. Like, just fill yourself up with, you know, like right here, just before here, like, see this massive fucking mixing bowl. I had like an enormous salad with but I made it taste nice. I just cut up like a bunch of like spinach and lettuce and dropped it in there to kind of fill me up. But then I just covered it in like chicken ham, some cashews, some like low fat cheese, and then some light mayo, which light mayo or like on other shit tastes awful, but like on a salad, it's basically salad dressing and it's very low calories. And that is going to mean that I'm not even thinking about food for the next couple hours. So then maybe on some days, maybe I want to have like a little treat in the evening or whatever. Because I've filled out some portions of my days with foods that are like really filling, high in protein, high in fiber, you know, high in veggies and stuff. I'm able to maybe have like, say tonight I could have like a little bit of ice cream if I wanted, because, you know, I've kind of set myself up earlier in the day for like a nicer evening and stuff, you know. you can find balance here. Like, it doesn't have to be so extreme, you know.
Decent. Well, I'm actually going to switch it is still regarding fitness, but I want to sort of get your opinion on this as well, because I wrote this down. It's quite interesting. What is your opinion? Obviously, we're back into lockdown part 2. If people are living under a rock and don't realize, what's your opinion on the gyms closing? So what I mean by this is, like, do you think they should be kept open because they are regarding health, or do you think it's a good sort of thing that they are closed because it was one of the main sources of coronavirus?
Okay, so I may be a little bit biased, but
don't worry, so am I, don't you worry.
But I strongly think that they should stay open, because it's not just, first of all, they're bettering your physical health. They're promoting you to eat healthier and stuff, and that's already going to prevent people from dying from corona in the first place. Just having a better immune system in general, and, you know, working out and stuff and looking after your health. These are all very important things. But then also there's the mental health side of it. That is so important for people, especially for me, and like I know a lot of other people have this too, is that little bit of the day where you go to the gym and you kind of put your headphones in, and, you know, you're there with yourself, you're just working out, you're bettering yourself, you're trying to improve yourself. That is, like, if I didn't have that, I'd be in such a worse place mentally, I feel like, because I just enjoy that I feel like I've done something with my day, you know. Like, I feel like it's such an important thing for people mentally, just to have that, like, that thing, you know, that place to go to just be on your own, you know, like, and it's just super important, I think. And I don't think it should have been put in the same category as pubs and all this, because obviously people are much more likely to, you know, pass it on at a pub and stuff, whereas at the gym you could just up the restrictions, you know, maybe let less people in, or like make it compulsory to wear masks. I'm sure people wouldn't mind that if they stayed open, but I mean, obviously you've got to do what you can with this situation. We can't help that it's been closed, so we might as well just you know, do what we can with what we've got. Like, I myself, I'm sure you guys have seen, have got me and my mate Abel have made a little DIY barbell using like concrete and like a pipe. And I've got I bought a kettlebell, I bought some resistance bands. I'm going for runs. Just find other alternatives, just adapt to the situation, you know, do what you can with what you've got, and sort of try and bet yourself in another way if that's what you're after. But, you know, yeah, it is rubbish, but I can't help it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
At what point does it become, does everyone just create a scenario where their business or their organization is fit to be open during COVID? Why? I understand the part of the health aspect of the gym and building up a stronger immune system, but at what point does it become everyone trying to open up again because they've got a reason for it? So I'll give you an example. Racetracks, for example, the majority of people and attendants can go outside. They'll be standing outside watching the racing, but no one can go and attend it. At what point does it become everyone trying to just fiddle their way into opening again?
Right, so I completely understand that I'm coming from, you know, a biased point of view, and I've got ulterior motives. I love the gym, and I want them to stay open for that reason. So I do respect that the government have closed them for that reason, and obviously, like, it's not just the gyms; it's a lot of places. You know, like even businesses and stuff that are considered non-essential have closed, and you know, people have got families to feed. But I'm just kind of respecting their decision, but at the same time, it is a very essential. I don't know. It's very linked to COVID if you think about it, because you're getting people to improve their health, which is a way of preventing them from dying from it in the first place. But obviously I understand that it's really like more of an issue to have people going out to the gyms, because that's increasing the spread of it at the same time. So yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I personally, I agree with the horse racing thing too, because obviously it's outside and you can social distance when you're out. So I'm going to actually fight the gym side too. Obviously, once again, on their side for a reason. But because I work there, we actually have to regularly clean it. We have to enforce people to wear face masks throughout walking abouts in the gym. Like, they have to clean. We have cleaning stations there. So personally, I think it's ridiculous that it's closed, because obviously we're keeping it clean. Everyone's sticking to the rules. Obviously, you're going to get some people that aren't sticking to the rules, and that's completely up to them. And if they're not willing to stick to government rules, they will just get. So what we would do is we would freeze their membership or disable their PIN if they don't actually have a valid reason for it. But then again, I think with horse racing, it's a similar sort of thing too, because you're outside. It's so much harder to catch if you're outside in pure fresh air. You're not standing next to anyone. And then obviously again, fighting against the gym, because you're in such a closed, compact place, sweating out, and working hard, you're then more vulnerable to get it. But I think it outweighs how many more benefits there are for the gym, mentally, like you said, and physically. And I think it's ridiculous that it's in the same bracket as pubs and bars, because once again, you're just going to be getting pissed. You're just going to be all over the place. Your immune system gets worse because you're drinking toxic stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think it's ridiculous, but hopefully this petition on the 23rd will fight it back.
My point is, though, that at what point can every single business or every single organization just come out and say, our place is fine, why can't we open? Like, why can't football stadiums have fans in? There are so many different things that can come out and say, why can't we open?
But the thing is, like, going to a football match isn't promoting your health. Going to the pub isn't promoting your health. I mean, it's close proximity with everyone else, and there's lots of opportunities to interact with people, whether you mean to or not. And within the gym, I personally think they should have kept it open, but with what George said earlier, Powerlius said earlier, upping the restrictions, like less people in, masks at every place you can get them, hand sanitizer, just keeping a closer monitored eye on the gyms, because a lot of people will rely on the gym not only for their health but their mental well-being. It does wonders for you to at least go outside and be active.
So couldn't the same be said then for a pub, that if they up the restrictions, if they said you're only allowed to come in for 2 hours tops, you're not allowed to have more than X amount of drinks, because you're still getting out of the house, you're interacting with other people, which is increasing your mental health. Like, at what point does it become everyone trying to just open up again?
I suppose you could argue that with the gym, you don't really have access to all that equipment, whereas with the pub, you can drink generally have, you can just get alcohol at yours, and obviously you don't have access to the same kind of social you know what I mean? But at the gym, you're specifically going there in like with the intentions of bettering your health, whereas for the pub, it's more just as like an extra social thing. And don't get me wrong, I love going to the pub, but I don't think it falls into the same kind of spot, because you're not going there with the specific intent to do that.
Okay.
And I do
what if? Sorry.
No,
I've got
one more.
Yeah, no, go.
I love
it when
playing
people play devil advocate. Yeah, I love it.
What happens then if pubs are closed, everything else, gyms are open? What do then people go? Okay, let's go and message their friends and go, should we all go and meet up at the gym today? Then it becomes an ulterior motive that they're not going there to benefit their health. They're going there because this is where they can hang out. And more than 6 people could probably be in a gym at one time. And what if by coincidence, more than 6 people who are friends all end up in one gym together, chatting along, maybe walking on the treadmill? Like, at what point does it become an ulterior motive for people to find a way to interact with people?
This is where I would suggest they add like bigger restrictions. And I mean, I would hate for it to happen, but I would understand if it's what it took to keep the gyms open. If they stop people from even interacting with each other, really, like, unless absolutely necessary. Because I mean, especially during the pandemic, you'd have to respect that, and you'd have to just go in and do your workout, you know, use the equipment and then go home, rather than even now, like, they do tell people off for you know, talking to each other and like working out if there's like more than 2 people or something. But yeah, they just have to tighten up on that, I feel like, and because that would be a problem. That would definitely be a thing. If everything else closed, people would try and find a way to hang out, you know, because we are social creatures. That, like, I could see myself doing that even, like, so yeah, they just have to tighten up on the rules, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree, because there is, like, we were tight on it anyway when we were on there. So with the whole treadmill situation, I'm just going to use that for an example. You're not allowed to be on a treadmill at like next to each other. It's every other one, so that would sort of restrict people. But obviously, if there's loads of them in the line, they could just chat to each other, like, look left and right. And then with the whole like big groups of people, because we'd used to have like quite a few like bunch of school kids that will come in, like, well, say school kids, like upper school sort of people. And then if they were in a group, we would ask them to sort of separate, or like just wear masks if you are going into talk and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely agree with the whole like knuckling down with the rules if they did reopen, which obviously they would come up with certain rules that would justify the reason for the gyms being open. But yeah, I'm on both sides here, because I think you are right, Dan, because at the end of the day, businesses are going to want to reopen, because if they're not making money, the business is slowly going to just die out. And they're all going to be like, oh, but we should be open for this reason, and this is why we should. But at the end of the day, people need to realize is, like, you cannot just say your business to reopen just for money if it's not actually going to benefit other people, for example, like the gym. Like, and there's loads of different like places that will benefit you which are still closed. But unfortunately, lads, we don't have the resources to tell other people what they should and shouldn't do. But yeah, that was an interesting topic. I'm glad that me and Powerlius are on the same side. I'm joking. Everyone has their opinions, and you know what I mean. I think it's nice to see.
Yeah, definitely.
But just to clarify though, I love playing devil's advocate. So
anytime
like a controversial topic comes up, I will always go on the other side.
No, I love hearing it. It makes it so much more interesting.
Yeah, because then you actually get to see the other person's, like, you can see how their brain is working and their opinion on what they're saying. Like, good. I'm glad you did, Ben, but don't ever come against me again. But talking about the gym, I do want to ask one more thing. This is quite a positive little topic. So what sort of exercise or sort of machine would you say was your favorite? If you give me your top 3, I would like to hear it, because I've asked a lot of people, like, when I was working, and they had interesting ones. So I'd like to hear your one. Okay,
so over the last year, I've really heavily gotten into powerlifting, because I like the idea of just getting as strong as you fucking can, as quick as possible. So I don't know, I've fallen in love with the sumo deadlift, because it's the lift you can do the heaviest. So even now, like the last 2 weeks, I've just been like in my room with my mat out, just like stretching and loosening my hips up, just waiting to do the sumo deadlift, like when I get back to it, like and then squats and bench are gonna have to be my number 2 and number 3, because I just love. I honestly, the reason I go every day is because I get like euphoria from the gym, because I literally go in, and on a day where I've eaten right, I will fucking push some heavy weight, and it is a great feeling. If you've got your headphones in, you're waiting for that song to drop. You're just like, you're just ready to push that weight. When you hit a number that you've been working up towards for ages, if you hit like a milestone, over like the last month, I've hit like a few milestones that I've been working up to for ages, and now I'm hitting some semi-respectable numbers in terms of powerlifting. There's something about that that's so fulfilling to me, and I've literally had times where after a lift, I've just sat down for like 10-15 minutes, and I've just been in awe of what I've just done. I'm like mind blown. I feel amazing. Like it sounds pretty like unreal to some people that I could be so in love with going to the gym, because some people see it as a chore, but to me I look forward to it, like say the gyms have closed. I'm upset that the gyms have closed, because that's a very fun part of my day. That's the part of my day that I look forward to the most, because I just enjoy it. I just enjoy getting strong and just seeing that progression over time, just bettering myself where I can.
Sick. I like that.
Yeah, sumo, squats, and bench.
Nice. All powerful fucking lifts, and I knew it was going to be the intense ones. I knew it. I had a good feeling about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and okay, if I had to tag another one on there, in terms of aesthetics, I think the most important muscle to build up, if you're not going to really train anything else, is doing the lateral raises to get the side shoulder, because it kind of it pops out out the side and just kind of gives you like a wider look. Yeah. And then everyone loves a bit of bicep curls as well. It's just a great feeling, So,
it's literally what me and Dan used to do pretty much every time.
Same. That's exactly what I do. I just go in and do bicep curls and leave.
Doing it all wrong. Makes me feel sick.
It's part of the process, mate. Part of the process.
Well, Powerlius, I think I have one last question for you.
Go for it, man.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time with your YouTube channel, with your Instagram channel, and just with your personal goals?
All right. So I would hope that I'm I would have grown by then. And I'm hoping this is the rule I'm going by. I'm going to put 3 years of consistent good content. I'm going to put loads of effort into it for 3 years, and by then I imagine I should see some growth. But if I don't, that will be telling of whether or not it will take off or not. But in 5 years, I imagine I'm going to have a decent following, because I'm going to stay consistent with it, man. Like I'm not. It's not just going to happen. I'm going to put in the work, and assuming I keep putting in the work, which I know I will, then it should take off. Yeah. Catch me in 5 years.
Absolutely. I will definitely be keeping up.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think with that, we'll do the outro.
Right.
Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see any of Powerlius's like Instagrams, Facebooks, or any of his links, they'll be down in the description, including his YouTube channel. Thank you for the podcast. It's been great.
Cheers for having me, boys.
So long. And I think with that concludes the People's Bash for today. We'll catch you next time. All right, in a bit. Bye.